And here we are, folks, live and in person. WRMN 1410 on the rise. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In the studio, yes, I am, Nick Johnston. And on the road, my man, we got him there. We see him live and in person. He's on the way to the White Sox game. It's Mike Napolitano. How you doing, Mike?
I am good. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, not too shabby, not too bad.
Yeah, it's been a busy week, and we're headed to the White Sox early. I was going to be in studio with you, but my Sam Antonacci interview on Italian Night got pushed, so hopefully that's today.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be a nice one to get to for sure. But we have a great show today. It's always fun being in studio, as I kind of barely am as it is. But like I said, try to get in when I can. We got a stellar one as always. We got to talk some FIFA. We got to talk some NASCAR as well to get us started off, because you were over there as well, over the Chicagoland Speedway. But, of course, as always, we got the White Sox on deck. Our boy Tristan Peters, our banana boy, hit for the cycle last night. We'll talk about all that stuff and more, because the MLB draft is going on tonight. They made a trade just yesterday. We'll get to that, those details and more. We got some Cubs stuff to talk about as well. We can't leave out the Northsiders. And the Bulls also had a summer league game. We can get to some action from there. I have a little fun. Well, we had a fun, off-air talk about the Blackhawks, so I think we'll maybe bring that on air. I think that ought to be fun to get to. And, of course, as always, Boomers, Cougars, Fires, Stars, Sky, Chicago Dogs, everything else in between. We got that all coming up for you today here on the Rise. And, again, our guy Dalton Cooper on assignment. He's going to go do some picture taking up in Wisconsin, so that's why he's not here today. But again, Mike, you're here. I'm here. Let's talk. Let's talk a little bit. What do you want to get to first? I know we got some FIFA to get to, but might as well get to some NASCAR, because that was the more local thing from right from the get go.
Yeah, last weekend was great. It came back to the Chicagoland Speedway for the first time in 7 years. Of course, the previous 3 years, it's been the Chicago Street Race, so it's been downtown. I think that was a great event, too. You don't really get to see the cars going full speed, because they're taking left and right turns.
Yeah, the narrow pathways. Yeah, it gets a little brutal. And just the road itself can get a little brutal. Right.
So, but it was a cool event. Honestly, everybody that says it's bad to be downtown and cut off the streets for a holiday weekend, it's the fastest I've ever made. Sorry, I'm hearing myself at the time. It's the fastest I've ever made it downtown to Chicago, because it's the reverse psychology effect. Like, everybody's like, oh, NASCAR is downtown, so I'm not going to go downtown. And the streets are wide open.
Yeah.
But this was very cool, too. You got to see them on an oval track. First time in Chicago, like I said, in 7 years. And did not disappoint. Despite the rain delaying stuff on the Saturday, everything still went off without a hitch, even on Saturday and then into Sunday. And everybody there was having a good time. The humidity was on high, but people survived. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, that's good. I always think about that line from Futurama when he goes, yeah, no one drives here. There's too much traffic. That's basically how it is in Chicago around that time. So, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But ultimately, yeah, looked pretty cool. I know it got rained out, delayed the first day, and then I believe even a little bit of another delay later on the second day. But overall, big outburst of fans. I had a couple of buddies that went and enjoyed their time. Like I said, dealt with the delay and all that stuff. But ultimately, whenever you get a race or any sort of event going on at the Chicagoland Speedway, it makes the time over there really go well. So, if you ever have the time, go out over to Joliet and just experience the race itself, but also just the history that's over there. It's pretty cool.
And I'll say, I'm not even the biggest NASCAR fan, and I know there's a lot of stigmas going into it, and some people just are naysayers of it. I think it's a great thing to see in person. It's such a cool an event.
Oh, yeah.
But just the atmosphere. I mean, especially being on America's 250th birthday weekend, I think that added to it. But it was a great event put on by NASCAR. They've got a great group over there.
Makes that so much more special. But we'll flip on over from the driving side, from ripping the rubber, over to kicking plastic rubber ball over there on the grassy knoll on the pitch there. We got a FIFA World Cup going on, and boy, oh boy, people are jumping up and down. That we're basically set up for what the quarterfinals are already, because I see Spain and France. They're set to go July 14th. I know later on today, we have Argentina taking on Switzerland. I know that's the big hullabaloo and howdy-do ever since Messi said, hey, Argentina, get on my back. I know we're down 2-0 against Egypt with about 15 minutes left. I got you. So we went ahead and had an outstanding performance to the point where Tom Brady even had a tweet, basically, yeah, GOAT status right there. So I don't know where you wanted to attack it from. I don't know where you want to start from or start recapping from. But, yeah, FIFA World Cup, where do we want to go? Where do we want to begin?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, I feel like Sid from Ice Age because they do this every year. And by every year, I mean every 4 years. The USA, every single time you think that it's their time, they do this to us.
Yes.
They made me a believer this year, and I'm sad that I was. Really, this is just unbelievable to lose to Belgium again too. It's just unbelievable. I don't know how they could keep getting away with this. And Captain America, Christian Pulisic. You're hurt. I understand it's a fractured thing, but like you're asking to come off. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. A couple of things on my end there. As you know, I'm not the biggest World Cup guy. I'm not a big soccer fan in any sort of way, any way, which way. However, watching the U.S. men's team kind of perform the way that they did. If this was your first taste of World Cup action or trying to watch Team USA and trying to be like, okay, you know what? I don't want to be, ignorant American. I want to watch the soccer. I want to watch the football. I want to enjoy it. This would have probably been the game you would have flipped on and then immediately turned off and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm back to baseball, back to basketball, back to hockey. This is just not our sport. This is not our thing. We got our goalie looking like Young Wei Koo kicking into the ground.
Yeah.
That was just unbelievable. And then for that, just a cavalcade of errors on the U.S. men's side. And then I think I'm gonna forget the former Team USA captain, Team USA big the most popular guy that was on the team. But even he was like, yeah, Pulisic just from what I understand, he isn't very approachable. He's very antisocial. He just doesn't give the media their just due and be able to talk to him as well. So he feels like there's a little bit of a disconnect there between between Pulisic and the team, him and the media. So he isn't really, Team America or team captain, Captain Planet, Captain America over here.
If you go back to 2022, Christian Pulisic had the most goals for Team USA. He was Captain America. He was leading the team in that World Cup, and they had a decent run, and it looked like they were building towards something. This year, it seemed like they were going to be building upon that, and you don't get any further in the tournament. Christian Pulisic takes off last year for a lot of international tournaments, whether that was, I believe, CONCACAF and stuff, and it's because he's resting for the World Cup. Well, you rested, and you still came out with your B-plus game at best. Flo Balogun was the best player other than, you mentioned Matt Freese having that mishap, but otherwise, goaltending, they were all right. They were good. But Balogun was the talk of this team, unless you talk about Tillman and his goals from points, from the free kicks. But, this team was not overall improved. They looked like in the group stage. I think they had an easier group stage, but that, hey, you play who's in front of you, right? But my goodness, this is just unbelievable. I get Christian Pulisic broke up with his girlfriend. Get over it, guy.
What?
Like, you have to lead Team USA when you're in that position. And I think what you were referring to about him being unapproachable to the media and stuff like that, I want to say that was either Clint Dempsey. It sounds like that was him.
I could take a quick look just in case. Clint Dempsey. No, that wasn't him. Unfortunately. Did I lose you, Mike? I might have lost you really quick. Yeah, he's a little bit of a frozen guy right now. That's okay. So unfortunately, USA falls to Belgium in the round of 16 on just one goal from Yeah, that was on a penalty kick. And as soon as he had momentum, you thought it was going to be just all well. Okay, you feel like, all right, cool, 1-1. Kind of Team USA wasn't looking like. And again, I'm not really the be all end all of who's. Oh man, yeah. Let me quickly get rid of the of the Zoom guy really quick. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Yeah, but unfortunately, Team USA, even from an outsider's perspective, like myself, I could just tell very sloppy play overall in that game against Belgium, and I see you saw that outcome coming at that point. It shouldn't have been a 4-1 victory. Again, I think the ugliness of Team USA's performance didn't help in any sort of way, and that kind of led to it. So 4-1 victory for Belgium, very unfortunate. And like I said, my mind that hopefully puts a little bit of a pause on like the overwhelming, like constantly having to, oh man, World Cup this, World Cup that, gotta show my pride. No, it's nothing like that. I think we got Mike back there, folks. Hear me there, Mike?
There we go. Sorry.
All right, you're all good.
I had a temperature warning pop up on my phone. My rant was just too hot.
Yeah, you were steaming it up in there. There you go. That was not Clint Dempsey that said that. I did not know. I didn't catch the other.
It must have been Landon Donovan, and I know
that sounds
Donovan
more like
have
it.
The best.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the best relationship with Christian Pulisic, but like I feel like that needs to get mended, or just you got to name a different Captain America. How can you not learn from the greats like that? I just don't understand. Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan, if they had heart when they were playing for Team USA, and it just seems like the heart is not in it for for Christian Pulisic, and quite frankly, some of the rest of Team USA.
Gotcha. I mean,
we spoke to Tyler Adams last year when he came here for Premier League, and it seemed as though they were geared up and ready to go. And I think some of them were. Like I mentioned, you see Tillman, you see Freeman, son of Antonio Freeman. But I don't know what happened to the rest of them.
So what would you maybe suggest to – I was kind of getting to this as you were getting your phone cooled down. What would you say to the person that, okay, this was their first time kind of being maybe all in on Team USA or just being in on the World Cup in general, and they got to see an unfortunate loss like that for Team USA? Is there maybe like a, hey, chin up, better luck next time, we'll be back here in 4 years, something along those lines? Or again, I'm going to be the pessimistic here and be like, yeah, you know what? Nothing really to look forward to for the next couple of years. It's soccer. That's not USA's cup of tea. We'll probably be there, but never be the guy type deal. But you maybe you can correct me. What's something that people should be looking forward to for the next couple of World Cups or World Tournaments for Team USA?
I wouldn't say U.S. is never going to be on top. I do think that you've seen the steps forward with USA Soccer, and I think it is coming if they stay on the trajectory coaching-wise. I mean, I love Greg Berhalter as a Chicago Fire coach. He's a great person to talk to, but he just wasn't it for Team USA. So they make the changes. You finally see a non-U.S. coach, and you do see improvement in the team. I will say that. And it may sound like I'm contradicting what I'm saying earlier, but I don't think this team is as far as they thought they were going to be. So it's going to take a lot longer. But for any new soccer fans, keep watching. Whether it's Premier League, whether it's other international competition, even the rest of this World Cup, because you're going to see the tail end of Messi's career and the start of a lot of other young careers, whether it's Yamal or, Mbappe is still considered somewhat young. To do what Messi's doing at his age, they compared it to, you mentioned Tom Brady, they mentioned it to the 28-3. And I think 3 goals from Messi and that Argentina team in the final 10 minutes, if you know anything about soccer, I think that's an even bigger comeback than 28-3 in a Super Bowl, which is insane to say. I don't think we would ever see a comeback that big. but you got to put it on that same scale, because goals in soccer are few and far between, especially in the 79th plus minute. And for Messi to be doing what he's doing at like 36, when everybody else in his group and his peers, they're all retiring. You know, I mean, you see Ronaldo, the discussion's finally over. Messi is the GOAT. And I mean, I'm happy to say I backed the Messi horse the whole time. I was always a Messi guy, but listen, this is history, what you're watching. So don't turn the TVs off yet. Watch the rest of this World Cup and enjoy it. I mean, just enjoy some great soccer.
Yeah, again, I know, me being the non-soccer guy, that's just how I've always have been. There still are storylines that are worth it beyond USA being gone. I think I could still recognize that, like, you know, Norway and Holland being on there. Like, he's been, he was very exciting to watch. He had a crazy goal that went through the wickets and scored for him against that was in the Brazil game that they won 2-1 in the round of 16. So I mean, that's still a pretty good storyline in my mind. Again, anything to do with Messi at this point. Again, Argentina playing Switzerland tonight at 8 p.m. Argentina is a heavy favorite at -145. So that ought to be interesting to see if Switzerland can get anything done there along those lines. But again, even watching like Mbappe on France, they won 2-1 against Morocco, so that would be fun to see. And again, another heavy favorite in Spain, being still here right now too. So again, you can still kind of find some fun storylines and some interesting pieces or some interesting players still to kind of tag along with, latch on to, and still watch as the quarterfinals are getting started right around the corner. That'll be the 14th and the 15th of July. So pretty good right there. Did you have anything else on maybe like you said, anything else that we didn't get over to on the men's side of things, or any big controversies or anything like that?
No, I did see that there was a little bit of revenue sharing that's about to happen between the men and the women's. Listen, the U.S. women's team is always on top, but the landscape for women's World Cups and international soccer is different, right? So they have a lot more success. There's a different competition level. But I think it's going to be a good thing moving forward, because I think we're really going to start to see both teams, rather than compete and say, oh, the men get paid more, or the women have more success, and talk about, you know, the different skill levels. I think they're going to be, not that they weren't already, but they're going to be rooting each other on, because, hey, whatever money you make is going to be back into my pocket. And every 2 years now, instead of every 4 years, it'll matter for both sides. So I think that's a great thing, not only for the sport, but for the U.S. coming together. And rather than fighting over politics and money, I think it's going to be a lot more of, you know, hey, we're all wearing the same flag, and we're going to go out there and try to represent our country the best. And like I said, hopefully that means the men get even better and bring in a little bit more, you know, because that'll only help out the women and vice versa, right? So that'll be great. But as you mentioned, there's a bunch of storylines. We saw the FIFA finals, World Cup finals in 2022 between France and Mbappe and Argentina and Messi, and that thriller of a game that went to penalties. I don't think the storylines have stopped, and I don't think they're going to stop throughout this entire World Cup. We've been treated with probably 2026 being the best World Cup that I've seen in recent history, and that's coming from a guy who's... One other thing I'll mention is pick a backup team if you're an American, and my backup team is Italy. They're not even in it, right? So I've been enjoying it still regardless, and I think it's going to be great going down the stretch here. Yeah,
from what I understand, this was just this was the largest, more matches, more groupings, kind of like the constant debate or argument that the college football playoff should expand. Should the FIFA World Cup expand to any larger teams, or was this grouping or groups, the amount of teams that were in this year, again, larger than past World Cups? Should they probably keep it around this, or again, should they even add more, do you think?
I think probably keep it around this. I think you open up the tournament to more teams, and it's like having a play-in round for the NBA, or even when the NHL did play-in rounds for the, COVID bubbles Baseball is a little different. I think the expansion of the playoffs has helped the league. But I think what you saw for FIFA was you're getting a lot of teams that don't belong at first, so they get weeded out real quick.
Oh, yeah.
And then it really doesn't show who's the best in the round robin tournament in the group stage, right? I think once you get to those, round of 32, round of 16, things improved. And, that's always how it is in tournaments, right? And especially when it's set up that way. But I think there's such a drastic drop off in some areas that either they're going to have to rethink about how they do the group stage, or just keep it at this number. This is fine. The expansion that they did do is all right. I think that added into what I was talking about how this is what.
This isn't the best seat in the house.
Nope.
This is.
Sorry about that. Sorry, I had an ad playing during the thing. I didn't want to spaz out. My apologies. Keep going. My apologies.
No, you're good. I think that added into the, that this is the best FIFA World Cup we've seen in a while. But keep the tournament the way it is, and I think it's great, especially spanning across 3 countries. I mean, we saw all 3 host countries make it to the round of 32. And, Mexico was undefeated. They set some historical records, and great by Canada to get their first win and then advance as well. So I think it's been great for all 3 host nations, too.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. I'm trying to pull it up. I just can't remember the team off the top of the dome. I know we got about a couple seconds, about 20 seconds before we got them. There we go. Tunisia, Tunisia, Tunisia. So far has been my favorite storyline this entire run. I don't think they scored. They scored a couple times in the tournament. However, they didn't win anything. They did nothing of note other than firing their coach for the first time in World Cup history since the last time they did it in 1998. They were the last team to do it both time, back-to-back coaches firing, and they're the only 2 teams to do it within the last couple decades. So I thought that was absolutely hilarious. So that's been all fun, like you mentioned. This has been an exciting World Cup all the way around. With some exciting baseball to get to. As, like I said, our Southsiders who you're over with today, you're over there, you're getting ready. You're stalking outside Gate B, I'm sure, or something like that. Trying to get in there.
I'm heading in now.
There we go. That a boy. He's got to get his interviews in. But sure enough, like we said, we'll be talking and recapping everything and anything that is the White Sox and also the upcoming MLB draft just right around the corner. This is On the Rise right here on WRMN 1410.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Red Sox beat the White Sox 2-1 on Thursday. Caleb Durbin hit a 2-run homer, helping Boston to its 6th consecutive win. The White Sox lost for the 6th time in their last 8 outings. Left-hander Anthony Kay dropped to 6-4, allowing 4 hits and issuing a pair of walks over 5 1/3. The White Sox are tied with the Guardians atop the AL Central after Cleveland beat the Twins 5-2 Thursday. The Orioles beat the Cubs 3-2 in Baltimore on Thursday. Jeremiah Jackson hit a 2-run double in the bottom of the 8th, lifting the O's to the win. The Cubs continue their road trip tonight. They open a series at Cincinnati with 5-7 Shota Imanaga starting against 0-1 Hunter Green. Summer League play for the Bulls starts tonight in Las Vegas. They'll take on the Memphis Grizzlies, and they don't play again until Monday with the game against the Utah Jazz.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Colonel's cooked up a new $10 bucket of the day just for you. Monday, 24 nuggets for $10. Tuesday, 8-piece fried chicken for $10. Wednesday, 10 wings for $10. Thursday, 8 tenders for $10. Friday, 24 nuggets for... Ooh, you guessed it, didn't you? $10.
Finger licking machine.
The $10 bucket of the day deal. Every weekday. Only at KFC. It's finger licking good.
Prices and participation variable. Supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax extra. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Get ready for an unforgettable night out in downtown St. Charles at O-Shows, where live music, dining, and entertainment come alive. Visit the iconic Arcada Theater at 105 East Main Street and experience the venue voted Chicagoland's premier entertainment destination. Whether you're enjoying a headliner concert, dining at Rock and Ravioli, or hitting the speakeasy at Club Arcada, O-Shows creates memories. Tickets and event info at oshows.com, and you can call 630-962-7000. That's 630-962-7000. Make your reservation, bring your friends, and plan your next event at O-Shows. Live music, dining, and entertainment, all in one place. Visit oshows.com and join the fun tonight. Supporter of the America's First Responder Fest.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 62. Looking ahead to Saturday, sunny with a high near 84. Saturday night will be mostly clear with a low around 64. On Sunday, sunny conditions with a high near 87. Currently at 73 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
And Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
And welcome back.
That one's down the line. Tristan Peters, a triple shy of the cycle. Will he go for it? He's rounding second. Here comes the throw. Tristan Peters, the man of the hour. He's keeping that mic all season long.
And what a night it was last night for Tristan Peters and the White Sox. A ton of great news on top of that 14-1 victory against the Sacramento, Las Vegas A's, whatever. They're the Athletics right now. Regardless, White Sox got a huge win there. Like I said, a double to start off the game for Tristan Peters, followed by an RBI single. He got a 2-run shot later on in the game, and then finally, like you just heard, courtesy of CHSN right there, that was Tristan Peters getting his triple, completing his cycle in the bottom of the 7th. And sure enough, there we go. There's Mike right there. And gorgeous guaranteed rate field. Oh, yes, we do, sir. Gorgeous guaranteed rate field where we just played and just recognized Tristan Peters for his cycle last night. Again, completing it in the bottom of the 7th in a 14-1, just whooping right now from the last night from the White Sox. Like I said, that was not all the great news from last night. Not only that, we had Munetaka Murakami come back. He performed. He had an RBI double last night. Not only that, gets announced as a replacement for Byron Buxton in the All-Star team, in the All-Star game, and will be the final participant in the Home Run Derby going on as well at the Summer Classic, as they say, for the MLB. So, Mike, I'll ask you quickly, What were your biggest takeaways of any one of those storylines I just gave you there? Or was there one maybe that I overlooked from last night's game or anything else from this weekend from the White Sox?
Well, I think I briefly mentioned that I was here on Tuesday night for Italian Heritage Night. Of course, we didn't get a chance to talk to Sam Antonacci or Kyle Teal that night, but we talked to Will Venable, and it seemed like the White Sox were rearing to go after a split with the Cleveland Guardians and get back to home and get back to winning ways. Unfortunately, the bats go completely cold against the Red Sox, and that's a team that you really want to take a couple games from, and the White Sox just didn't come to play. So you're a little worried going into an all-star game that this becomes a little bit of a slump, and then they get the break, and it's all the the rest versus actual playtime decisions and conversations. But I think they showed last night that the offense can really come alive, and you hope to spread that out against a couple of games, especially here against an Athletics team that you could get a couple of wins against. But the news that Munetaka Murakami going to the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game actually broke before the stadium was even open yesterday. We saw a couple of analysts in the dugout that saw the graphic up on the boards. It was a little funny how it all got announced. But you saw video, I'm sure, in the locker room of him getting the award from both Will Venable and Mike Vassell. We're going to get a chance probably to talk to Will Venable pretty soon here and talk just about that explosive offense from last night and a good sign from this White Sox team that the bats are still there, but then also that the All-Stars are ready to go. You're a little worrisome with the fact that Munetaka Murakami is just coming off of injury, and now he's being sent to an All-Star game. You hope maybe he gets a little bit more rest after coming back this week, but we'll see. I would like to see him just put the bat on the ball a little bit more today and tomorrow leading into that weekend, maybe even, put one over the wall here. That would be nice. Mm-hmm. But Tristan Peters, man, you talked about it. First White Sox since 2017, Jose Abreu, to hit for the cycle. And he did so by getting a home run and a triple in the same inning. That's incredible.
Absolutely, yeah. Bottom of the seventh was a big one for the White Sox, indeed. I'll quickly go on to your comments about Mune coming back and then being thrown in the spotlight. I'm going to counter it with I actually really like that. That kind of shows me that that the White Sox are not that they're not treating him with kid gloves, but it's just telling me that he's ready. He's for sure ready. Because if there was some sort of maybe concern about his health still, I think you would have saw him in the DH spot last night. But he was playing first, and he had a really nice play to preserve Sean Burke's no-hitter at the time. Sean Burke had a really nice game yesterday. Seven innings, 9 strikeouts. But again, no hits up until the beginning of the 5th for Burke. So again, a really nice underrated piece right now that the White Sox have been having. Again with Davis Martin having the year that he's having, but as of late going a little bit cold. So nice to see that Sean Burke is being consistent up until add 9 to 33. What do you get? You get 41 right there. Am I doing the math? I think I'm doing math wrong. 42. Yeah, so 42 strikeouts over his last 5 appearances. I think that's really nice to see from Sean Burke. But just to flip it back to Mune, again, that's showing me that he's good to go. The White Sox believe he's good to go. He wants to be out there. He wants to play. He wants to be participating in all this. And I think I'll draw it back to I was having this conversation with my family that I was over with last night. Again, when the news dropped when we were watching the game, like, that small concern of being a part of the home run derby just in general, whether or not he was coming off of being on the IL for however long, for about a month or so, just being thrown back into the home run derby that messes up your swing. But we talked to a former home run derby winner participant and just overall slugger in Ryan Howard, and kind of just said, well, it's kind of a case-by-case basis. It's not a death sentence as soon as you go over the home run derby and then there you go, boom, gone. There's your swing. Your rest of the season, your swing is gone. I think when you have a guy like Mune who's getting, advice and listening to a lot of people, especially a guy like probably, Shohei Ohtani, I think you're going to have a decent little rest of the season and still be able to adjust your swing and not be in that slump because you were, quote, a part of the home run derby. So I think that was so far so good.
And listen, it's not like he's been off this entire time, right? Of course, he has been rehabbing from injury, but he had a nice little stint down in Charlotte. In fact, set history there as well, with himself and Riku Nishida being the first 2 Japanese batters for the Charlotte Knights, which is a first in Charlotte Knights history, that both their 1 hitter and the 2 hitter were both of Japanese descent. So that's really cool to see. And he was hitting the ball off the cover there too a little bit in the few games that he had. So it looked like he was definitely ready. Because of that move, though, and I know we were kind of going to get into this, the White Sox end up sending Jacob Gonzalez back down to Charlotte, and midway through the game last night, he ends up getting the news, as he's pulled from the game, that he was traded with Brandon Eisert to Pittsburgh for the number 34 overall pick in today's MLB draft, and also a pitcher coming back. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now.
Is it James Wood or?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, Wood coming back from the Pirates. Now, Wood was up with their AAA a little bit.
Jacob Woods, my apologies.
Yeah. So I believe he would have been in Indianapolis, where we just were when we interviewed Ryan Howard, as you mentioned. So, listen, I'm not sure on this trade so far, because I liked Jacob Gonzalez. I know our Schaumburg Boomers friends in Banks Tolley and Anthony Calarco are a little sad. They played with him at Mississippi. But
oh, sorry, Jaden Woods, not Jacob Woods. My apologies.
Jaden Woods. Yeah, apologies. But this should help. The White Sox did need pitching. I do like that aspect of it, but I'm not sure. Did you give away a lot here just to get that? And the 34th overall pick is what they're saying they're going to be using to be selecting Jim Thomey's son. We'll see if that's available on the board at that point, but that's about where he's predicted to go. So that could be a good thing. I don't know.
I think this is fine, actually. You know, we saw what we got from Jacob Gonzalez, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, this small stint right here, it tells you exactly how his career is going to pan out. No, I think he was able to get some decent amount of at-bats. Did he strike out a lot? Did he go through a little bit of a mini slump when he was up? I think he did. However, he also came up with some clutch at-bats. He had a walk-off for the White Sox earlier this year, already this year as well. But yes, the full trade breakdown: Jacob Gonzalez and lefty reliever Brandon Eisert to the Pirates for lefty reliever Jaden Woods and 34th overall pick. So again, basically lefty for Braden Eisert and Jaden Woods. So I don't mind that right there. So again, Jacob Gonzalez for the 34th overall pick. Again, we're kind of forgetting, if hopefully not, White Sox have the number 1 overall pick today. So we're going to get an infielder that's going to replace basically Jacob Gonzalez. I think that was the thing. It was one too many infielders for the White Sox. So you have a really congested second base, shortstop kind of pipeline right now. And when the White Sox are kind of drafting the way that they are, in the sense of, I think even you kind of saw this already, kind of maybe with the Padres kind of doing it, where they're drafting shortstops, yes, but it's essentially like a multi-positional guy no matter what, where, yeah, he's shortstop on paper, but he can go play right field. He can go play left. He can go play first. He can play third. On a bad day, maybe you throw him out in center or something like that. So the White Sox are kind of just picking the best available athlete, and that hopefully for the most part, we'll kind of break this down later in a little bit too, just in a couple seconds maybe. What probably should be Rock Chalowski. You're probably going to end up taking him, and he's going to be, again, just put him in just about any position that isn't catching or pitching. He's probably going to excel, and he's probably going to do well. So while I don't love that Jacob Gonzalez is going, I think he was good enough to kind of entice the Pirates. Like, okay, he can play, he can do a little bit, he's got some pop in his bat. We can see what he can get done there. But I don't hate getting the 34th overall pick, which is always funny because, you know, I feel as though in the MLB that's like the last thing that's traded for is picks. So I think it's always interesting to see there. So I don't know. Did I spin you in any sort of way? Did that kind of calm you down from the Jacob Gonzalez getting moved? A reaction? I know a lot of people were up in arms. They're like, I can't believe this, trading Jacob Gonzalez, as if he was like the be all end all. Good player. I just don't think he was like just there just yet.
Right. Yeah. Not be all end all by any means. I just, I wish I would have gotten a chance to connect with him and interview him, knowing that we have the Boomers connections. But no, you're dead on. I have heard, you mentioned pitching and catching, though, when it comes to drafting. I have heard arguments for Von Lackey.
Yes.
Instead of Roch Chalowski, who seems to be the clear-cut number one overall, but we've seen how that goes in recent drafts of pretty much any sport. Of course, the NHL goes pretty much chalk this year, and we'll probably get into that a little bit later with the Blackhawks selections. But when it comes to this White Sox team, yes, there are a lot of middle infielders. Even Sam Antonacci is out in the outfield right now, but was originally a second baseman. You kind of think, like, if you're going to be drafting stuff like that, what ends up happening with some of the middle infield that you have right now, whether that be Chase Maedroff, you got to have Colson Montgomery and Miguel Vargas in the lineup, you'd think, for the majority of the 162 in the future. So, yeah, do you go with Roch Chalowski? I still think yes, but I wouldn't be upset at this point. A couple months ago, if you would ask me, I would have been like, this is the clear-cut number one overall. This is who you have to take. If you're taking a Lackey, I think you're okay. But yeah, interested to see how that goes today. We have so much going on today. Not only did we talk about the All-Star selection and the Home Run Derby selection for Munetaka Murakami, there's an alumni All-Star game going, alumni Home Run Derby going on after the game today with Jose Canseco, other names that White Sox fans will remember, like Alexi Ramirez. But yeah, so much going on in White Sox.
It's Jose Canseco, Alexi Ramirez, Daniel Palka. I love Daniel Palka. Gordon Beckham, Leori Garcia, and good old Scotty Pods, Scott Posednik. Those six going down in their own White Sox alumni home run derby, which I thought was going to be before the game. It's actually going to be post game, so it's going to be a nice little. It'll be very interesting to see how they kind of, if they're even going to add a little fence or if it's just going to be the regular setup that it is. I think that's going to be really cool. Do you have a quick prediction? Because I got my guy. I know. I think I know who I got.
I know age is a factor, but how do you not go with Jose Canseco? Maybe Alexi Ramirez, though, is a dark horse. He hit a lot for the White Sox. You mentioned Daniel Palka.
I'm going with Palka. Well. I'm going with Palka.
I'm very interested to see. I mean, Scott Posednik, you see him hit a historic home run in the World Series to walk things off. There's even a seat dedicated for it. But I don't know if he's that power hitter. He is going to make an appearance at the Kane County Cougars later on this year, so make sure you mark your calendars. I believe August 6th.
Ooh,
I could be wrong. I got to double check that. But, yeah, if you want to talk to him about it then, definitely head over to Kane County if you're not already going to be here at the game today. But then also another dark horse who I've seen hit a walk-off home run against the Red Sox, and we saw him hit a big home run in the 2021 playoffs, Leori Garcia.
Yeah, that's again there for that game. That should be very, very interesting indeed. But to pivot back to the MLB draft, I'm not quite sure because this is it was Roch Chalowski up until maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, and then someone out of nowhere, probably like a guy like Bob Nightingale, was like, well, it could be Von Lackey, and then we all threw our hands up like, we had it. We were fine. We had a clear-cut 1-1, and then someone had to stick their nose in it and say something. And not only that, it now becomes a three-way dance with Grady Emerson also getting some thoughts, getting some highly taught prospects and other people, analysts, kind of putting them up there as well. So I'll say this: I think it should be Roch Chalowski because I feel like he's shown the numbers at the college level, putting on a show at UCLA in the different ways that he has. That's not to poo-poo anything that Grady Emerson has done or eventually will do. It's just because he's only been at the high school level for me. If the White Sox want to go with a guy that's, again, kind of been there, done that with all the performances that he's had so far at UCLA, you can see that he's just that much closer to being MLB ready than Grady Emerson is. Do I think that maybe at the end of both of their careers, can Chalowski and Grady Emerson basically have similar or identical numbers? That could definitely be the case. I won't rule that out. But as of right now, if you're going to point and choose and be like, oh, who's more MLB ready? Who should I have on this squad right away? I think I would roll with Roch Chalowski. If you want to even try and argue for Von Lackey, again, I know he's probably the best catcher in all the state of Georgia. Cool. White Sox are kind of good on catching prospects as of right now. Maybe that's You don't need one of those things where it's not a bad thing to have a bountiful amount, but as of right now, I think the most talented name, the best name right now is Rock Chalowski. Is there anything that I should maybe consider, or is there anything that you've heard that you would want to get out there? Is Rock Chalowski your pick for number 1 overall today?
Yes, actually, my pick might determine what they're doing over here as far as making their bid for the FIFA World Cup. Got a couple of White Sox players out here kicking soccer ball around.
Ooh.
So look out, Mbappe and Haaland. So, but no, when it comes to picking anybody other than Chalowski, I could see the argument for needing another catcher. We've seen good things from Teal when he's been healthy. Edgar Caro been a little bit shaky at times. He gets sent down to Charlotte. So you really don't have a whole lot of catching options right now. So I could see that argument, but I mean, how long is that going to take for a player like Von Lackey to develop, right? So you're not going to have him right away. It seems like the White Sox are not only trying to retool the farm with additional 34th overall pick, but also adding in guys to the pitching staff. It seems like you're kind of also in like a win now mode. I mean, you're above 500 team, you're leading the division. You don't want to make moves like you did in maybe 2020 or 2021, where you're all in for that deep playoff push and then it backfires on you. But you want to have success right now while it's here, right? Especially to try to keep Munetaka Murakami here. But you want to have something in the pipeline going forward. You have to set yourself up success long term as well. So I still agree with you. I still do think it is Rock Chalowski, but I mean, we'll just kind of have to see what happens today, which is going to be all that more exciting than I think it would have been if he was the only name still in the conversation. So I'm interested to see what happens, not only in that, but in that post-game home run derby that we're talking about.
Absolutely. So if I'm looking at this correctly, 1 p.m. Eastern time, so right around noon when On the Rise concludes, the start of the MLB draft will be happening over on NBC/Peacock. So go ahead and maybe flip on over there later on today for the first 10 picks there. Then later on, they'll have the remainder of the first round all the way until pick 135. So maybe that's like maybe like the 5th or 6th round or something like that for them. But yeah, I mean, there's just there's so many options right there. Again, I feel like it's exactly right where Chalowski should be the guy until he's not.
Right.
With a couple more minutes left, I got to ask you, I want to flip on over to a little bit of our crystal ball, a little bit of a maybe prediction side. Obviously, like you just mentioned, White Sox are not in win now necessarily, but it's you can win because the AL is so, I don't want to say weak. That feels like it's a downturn, but it's just so crazy and up in the air. It's very chaotic right now as teams are so close to each other, minus, the Rays being a couple games ahead of everybody right now, but that's just how the Rays are. They're regular season warriors. So in order to get there, you would hopefully, again, we don't have the trade predictor in front of us. We don't have all the names and all that stuff going on. We don't know really if the White Sox will be buying. Hopefully they will to make a better move. But a long way of me asking you, of way getting there, of saying, what are 3 players that you think will be the 3 players that are going to be the second half must watch? These are going to be the players that are, yes, like I want to focus on these guys because they are going to be the reason that the White Sox win the Central, or they're the reason that the White Sox, get into the wild card or something like that. Are there 3 names off the top of your dome? I was able, like I said, to better prepare a little bit earlier and kind of get my picks. But what 3 names or something like that are going to get the White Sox going into the second half as basically the dominant ones?
Well, it's hard to not off the bat pick your 2 all-stars, right? And those are 2 guys that have over 20 home runs. The White Sox are the only team to have 3 players who have more than 20 home runs. So you're talking about Munetaka Murakami and Miguel Vargas being your all-stars that have 20-plus home runs, and then you're adding in Colson Montgomery. And that seems like the 3 just right off the bat that seem, no pun intended, but seem like they're the ones that you would pick, right? And nothing against Colson Montgomery. I think he's been great. I think the reason he doesn't get an all-star nod is maybe a little bit streaky at the plate, little inconsistency. So if I had to go not chalk and had to go with maybe a dark horse for this White Sox team. And maybe not so much of a dark horse after last night. I do think Tristan Peters, especially his bat being in the lineup, no bias just because we've interviewed him here before, but I think there's a lot to say with his career and where he's come from and how he's done here in Chicago. So I think Mooney being back is huge. You saw how this team plays without him, but I think that would be a huge factor going into the second half. I think Miguel Vargas has been consistent all year long and been electric too as well. But maybe to not go the whole position player route, I think you got to look at pitching too. And somebody who's on the mound, we saw warming up earlier tonight, Davis Martin. And he's had the stuff all year long, maybe a couple rocky starts as of late. But you got to think that pitching has to carry you the rest of the way through. And I think that would be huge too.
Yeah, I don't think you're completely off with the Tristan Peters one. If you really sat down and looked at his offensive numbers, and then you probably compared it to a couple of all-stars from this year, you'd be like, oh, wow, he's having a much better season than X player right here for sure. And you're like, wow, he's hitting 9th for the White Sox? Oh, okay. All right, interesting enough. I would definitely not disagree with the big three. You know, it is a little chalky. I do have Mooney for sure on my list. Again, it's just one of those things where, yes, he's the leader and basically all the offensive stat categories. He's been on the bench for about a month, so it's still kind of crazy there. So I think that's a good one to throw in there. I'm going to throw in a little bit of off the cuff one, off the kilter one. Sitting still in the minors, sitting in AAA. Hopefully he gets healthy. I think Hagen Smith can come up and make some noise, and he can be a part of this and get, add some juice to the squad, add some juice to the bullpen, or maybe to the starting rotation. And then even still sticking in that rotation, who's going to be the number 2 guy? And I'm going to ask, is that going to be Sean Burke? Is he going to step up and be the guy behind Davis Martin, who you just made mention to as well? Or is it going to be another guy who's also making a ton of strikeouts? Is Anthony Kay going to be our number 2 ace right there? I hope so. I really, really hope so. So, guys, we're going to go from the south side, flip on over to the north side. When we return, we're going to talk a little Cubs baseball, as they've actually been not doing too bad. I know if you talk to a Cub fan, the sky is falling, but they're actually having a good time. We're going to talk about some Cubs baseball when we return on WRMN On the Rise.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Terms to apply.
Life Experiences with William Pellerinos airs on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on WRMN AM 1410 radio. Listen online at WRMN1410.com and watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/WRMN radio. To be a guest on the program, contact William Pellerinos. Guests on the show include police officers, firefighters, attorneys, prosecutors, doctors, nurses, authors, veterans, musicians, artists, and restaurateurs.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410. Elgin time, 11 o'clock.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by KFC. South Elgin's Anderson Humane is caring for 6 dogs rescued after a tornado destroyed an animal shelter in Springfield. The group transported 3 adult dogs and 3 puppies from Sangamon County Animal Control to help make room for displaced pets and give the animals a better chance at adoption. One of the dogs is already available for adoption, while the others remain at Anderson's shelters. Elgin is launching an education campaign ahead of new statewide rules for e-bikes and scooters taking effect January 1st. The city will focus on informing riders, parents, and schools about age requirements, speed limits, where devices can operate, and new safety regulations instead of creating temporary local rules. The outreach effort begins at National Night Out on August 4th. A Plainfield area woman accused in connection with her husband's death allegedly made suspicious online searches before and after his remains were discovered, according to prosecutors. Robin Turner and James Adams are charged with concealing a homicide and dismembering a human being after Dale Wayne Turner's body parts were found in a freezer in central Illinois lake. Authorities say additional charges are possible as the investigation continues. John Deere has reached a settlement allowing farmers and independent repair shops to fix their own equipment. The agreement requires the company to provide access to diagnostic and repair tools previously limited to authorized dealers. Deere will also pay $1 million to 5 states for enforcement costs. U.S. jobless claims dipped slightly last week with 215,000 Americans filing for unemployment benefits. Layoffs remain at historically low levels, but hiring has slowed in recent months. The unemployment rate fell to 4.2% in June as employers added fewer jobs. U.S. existing home sales slowed in June as higher mortgage rates continued to weigh on buyers. Despite the slowdown, the median sales price climbed to a record $440,600, marking the highest level on record. Home prices have now increased year over year for 36 straight months. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
The Colonel is the king of chicken. That's why he's always had a beef with beef. But on Wednesdays, he's squashing the beef by frying it. KFC Country Fried Steak is here for only $4.99. Crispy golden outside, tender steak inside. Served with peppery gravy, mashed potatoes, coleslaw, and a biscuit. At last, the Colonel and beef buried the hatchet in gravy. Get the $4.99 Country Fried Steak Wednesdays for a limited time only at KFC.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Not available on third-party ordering platforms. Tax, tip, and fees extra.
Progressive's Home Quote Explorer helps you easily find and buy the right coverage for you. It's everything you've always wanted. Well, I mean, as far as a website that lets you shop, quote, and buy insurance in one place. But hey, maybe that is everything you've always wanted. Yeah, people have different types of dreams. And if all you've ever been searching for is a website that helps you choose home insurance rates and coverage, boy, do we have great news about Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
France is moving on in the World Cup. They shut out Morocco 2-0 in the quarterfinals on Thursday. Quarterfinal actually continues today with Belgium taking on Spain. Then tomorrow it's Norway against England and Argentina facing Switzerland. Baseball Thursday, the Braves beat the Pirates 10-5. The Mets over the Royals 7-3. The Yankees beat Tampa 12-4. Aaron Judge will get more tests on his injured ribs during the All-Star break. The Orioles beat the Cubs 3-2. The Guardians scored a 5-2 win over the Twins, while the Red Sox beat the White Sox 2-1. 3 straight losses for the White Sox, who are tied with the Guardians atop the AL Central, 2 games ahead of the Twins. The Tigers beat the A's 4-1. The Marlins doubled at the Mariners 8-4. A 1-0 shutout for the Phillies over the Reds. 11 strikeouts, 2 hits allowed over 7 full for Jesus Luzardo.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 62. Looking ahead to Saturday, sunny with a high near 84. Saturday night will be mostly clear with a low around 64. On Sunday, sunny conditions with a high near 87. Currently, it's 73 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol.
It's time to wake up.
Yes!
And lock in to On the Rise.
Yes!
With host Mike Napolitano.
Cub fans have every right to be disappointed if this Cubs team continues on the trajectory that they're on and they miss the playoffs or, at best, get a wild card spot. You are cooked at that point.
Mamma mia! Dalton Cooper.
Like, I would look out for my friends and be like, hey, you know, if you're ranking a little bit, I'm gonna let you know. I feel like that's a good friend. I'd be like, hey, did you smell yourself, or did you maybe did you fart, but something doesn't smell right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! And Nick Johnston.
For the most part, to be fair, I don't want to completely, justify a sweep, but the Royals are red hot right now. Vinny Pasquantino might be Ted Williams reincarnated. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
And here we are, folks. Welcome back. There we go. We got Mike back in the building as well. There he is. How we doing there, Mike guy? We see you.
Good. I'm just testing things.
There we go. Testing indeed. As you test, I will go ahead and quickly shout out the White Sox starting lineup for today, as they are going to be having a first pitch over at 1:10 to have the second game of this series today against the A's. Leading off, Randall Grichuk playing left field. We have Mune playing, he's going to be DHing today. Miguel Vargas over at first. Colson Montgomery over at third. Can't just say Montgomery anymore. We got to distinguish between the two. Colson playing third and hitting fourth. Chase Maladroff is playing second. Braden Montgomery in right field today. Luis Angel Acuna playing shortstop. Junior Perez in center, and then Drew Romo behind the plate catching today, with Brian Hudson getting the start. So we're either getting a full-on bullpen game today for the White Sox, or most likely a little bit of Eric Fetty sprinkled in, probably getting a bulk of the pitching today in that sense. But again, from the south side over to the north side, and all the fun that's going on for the Cubs as they are still chasing behind the Milwaukee Brewers, who they had a decent little series against them. I believe took 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. I can't remember if they had a 4-game series.
I believe 2 out of 3.
Okay, well regardless, for sure won the series. Just wanted to point that out. But like I said, however, still 7.5 games back behind Milwaukee in the NL Central, with St. Louis just behind them, nibbling at their heels, trying to get at their wild card spot. However, I just want to make note really quick. Since June 10th, the Cubs are 18-8, which is better than anyone else in that small little stretch. So again, to all the Cub fans that think the sky is falling or think this team is just not up to par, if you blindly talk to a Cub fan, you wouldn't think that they're 10 games above 500 playing 52-42 ball. But yeah, that's kind of where the mindset is at. Quickly before we kind of get details of what happened this past week for the Cubs and getting to number wise, what were your thoughts on maybe, like I said, any takeaways that I just mentioned on the Cubs? What were your big takeaways this week from them?
Yeah, I think they really needed that 18-8 stretch. I think you lose the division lead, you have that little bit of slump during the season, especially with individual players on the roster, whether that's defensively or offensively as well. They're chasing the Milwaukee Brewers, and that's a tough team to chase, right? So I think that they have to really continue on this run here, even post All-Star game. I think they're going to get a little bit of rest, and once again, we bring it back to that conversation of, is it rest versus rigorous activity, right? Like, is that going to help them or hurt them? So for the North Siders, I think they just have to continue playing the ball that they're playing. The NL is, as we kind of alluded to with the AL conversation a little while ago, is a very different landscape, right? So I think you have to be on your A game pretty much every night. And that could get grueling in a 1-62 season, especially dog days of summer. In fact, right before I left there, I was having some heat issues with the phone here. It's hot out today. They just told us that Will Venable is going to be out at 11:30, so right around when we take a break. But they told the reporters to head back up to the clubhouse to avoid the heat, right? My watch says 78 right now, but I think it's even warmer than that with the sun. So
sounds about right.
Going back to this Cubs team, though, I don't think you're going to catch the Milwaukee Brewers. But if you can line yourself up in a favorable playoff matchup, maybe with them, the Cubs have been good against the Brewers this year. Maybe 50-50. Maybe Milwaukee got the better of them in Wrigley, but I believe the Cubs went up to Milwaukee and took at least 2 out of 3, if my memory serves me correctly. But this is a Cubs team that are going to have to go through their rivals if they want to have a deep playoff run and they want to have success. There's a lot of crazy Cub fans that are calling for Craig Counsell's head. I think he's one of the best managers in baseball, and he's going to figure it out. It comes down to the talent on the field. And when you have guys like Pico Armstrong that go through mental slumps, I mean, yes, maybe you could attribute it to Craig Counsell maybe needing to give him a day off and needing to manage a little bit better. But at the same time, that player's got to work through something himself, right? Who's going to make him make those catches out in the field? Who's going to put the ball on the bat for him? Only him, right? So he did get the All-Star nod. So I think Cub fans are happy with that. But I think Cub fans would also want a couple more All-Stars on that roster from their team. So I would like to see if there are any other stars that emerge in the second half for this Cubs team, because I think that's what they're really going to need going down the stretch.
Yeah, obviously, decked out in my White Sox gear, you're over at the rate. We covered the Sox here over at WRMN, who, like I say, be listening to that game later on today, 1:10 first pitch. But it would, I would be doing a huge disservice to just people that enjoy, or myself that just watches and loves baseball. And I would have to tell you, yes, PCA deserves to be not only be an all-star, he deserves to be a starter. And that kind of trickles down to, I was gonna get on my soapbox and talk about, the all-star voting and how fans, honestly, I'm all for being the freedom of speech and all that, and people get the right to choose and all that. But at this point, not when it comes to the all-star voting. The fans have lost their right to vote in my mind when I see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the lineup and he's having his worst statistical year ever. Juan Soto is in the lineup, the starting lineup for the All-Star game. He should probably be, if he wasn't getting paid almost $80 million a year, he'd probably be rightfully in a AAA uniform right now. He's having an awful year, not only behind the plate, just mentally, just not hustling for plays. So again, that's kind of where I've been battling with that all week, all the past couple days of as much as I love, giving power to the people and all that, clearly it's been with some huge problems, considering the fact that, like I just said, all those guys that don't really deserve to be in the All-Star lineup are still there, and that's because, you know what, I don't know anymore. I don't know who Miguel Vargas is, and let's just vote for Vladdy. I don't know who exactly. I don't know who should actually be starting for this position. Let me just throw in, I don't know, Brooks Baldwin, who's just having an awful year for the Braves. But
do you think that this is a case of limited attention spans, how social media portrays things, rather than watching the full picture, watching the whole story, and watching the actual games for these fans? I mean, it seems like they're just taking the big names, right, when it comes to some of this voting. At the start of the voting, if it wasn't for a couple of last-minute entries or last-man-in cases, it would have been the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Essentially,
right? And
yeah.
The fans voted for that. And I think there's an aspect of not only, I just kind of alluded to that they're just picking the names that they know, and you were talking about that too. But I think there's also a case of just the big teams that are in the mix right now, the two teams that went to the World Series last year, their fans are dialed in, right? So they're voting the most. So
yeah, didn't have Ernie Clement
with the fan.
Didn't have Ernie Clement as my what was it? The unanimous votee for the AL side as what? Who was the counterpart? Oh, Shohei Ohtani for the NL side. Because yes, when I think of who should be representing the AL side indefinitely, it's Ernie Clement. And no hate on the guy. I don't even think he's going to be the best second baseman on the All-Star team. That's just kind of where I'm at. But again, that's a different talk, I suppose, for a different day. That's already kind of, that ship has already kind of sailed. Hopefully there can be some sort of redisbursement of how powerful each, maybe players, coaches, or players, managers, and fans all have a 33% pick of who goes into this All-Star break, as opposed to, I believe it's kind of like probably 50% fans, 25 players and coaches. So.
And it'll be a fun all-star game and home run derby.
Oh, it always is.
I think this is going to be one of the best home run derbies we've seen with some of the talent that's in there. It's shaping up to be that way. Of course, you're in a very exciting park for home runs in the bank over in Philadelphia, Citizens Bank Park. So I think the location, I mean, America's 250th birthday, we're going to one of the most patriotic cities. Actually used to be the capital, the original capital of the United States, Philadelphia. So I think this is going to be a great setting, great location, and we'll see how it goes. We, as WRMN, myself, will be out in Florence, Kentucky for the Frontier League All-Star Game. So we'll be headed east, but not quite all the way east.
Gotcha. So, yes, home run derby participants, of course, the two Philadelphia representatives are Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, rightfully so. Obviously, Kyle Schwarber hitting the cover off the ball. He has 32 home runs as of right now. Bryce Harper has 20. That is also participating is Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals, Wilson Contreras of the Boston Red Sox, Jack Caglione of the Kansas City Royals, Ben Rice of the New York Yankees, Junior Caminario of the Tampa Bay Rays, and again, just announced last night, Munetake Murakami of the Chicago White Sox getting thrown in there to polish off the remainder of that lineup. Probably a similar bracket style as it has been. With the time limits and all that, I think it's been pretty solid. Over 420 feet, you get that additional 30 seconds if you get a couple of those. So that's pretty cool. I'll quickly. I don't want to hammer on this too long, but it's something that I always look forward to is the celebrity softball game. But I've come to find out that's not happening. They're changing it up this year, so it's going to be a new 3-on-3 co-ed game with 4 different teams. It's going to be Team Howard, Ryan Howard, who we just had on the show. Again, now currently the manager of the Indianapolis Clowns. So it's going to be Ryan Howard, Alyssa Brito, a utility player for the Carolina Blaze, and Jordan Mailata, tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, taking on Team Rollins, which is Jimmy Rollins, again, another Philly legend, Tiara Jennings, middle infielder for the Texas Volts, and Terrell Owens, Hall of Fame wide receiver, again, formerly for the Philadelphia Eagles and 49ers. Team Victorino, Shane Victorino, with Rachel Garcia of the Texas Volts as well, and Aldo Carrion, a rapper. I'm not familiar with his work. But I'm sure he's fantastic. And finally, the Atlanta Braves team, which I guess that's going to fly over well, considering that's the NL East rival. Andrew Jones, Hall of Famer for the Braves. Niari Kennedy, apologies if I'm mispronouncing that, the pitcher for the Texas Volts. And then Antonio Cipriana, actor/singer. So this will be very interesting to see. As again, it's kind of 3-on-3. It's still going to be baseball. It's not going to be like a wiffle ball game, but it's going to be home runs are a point, catches are a point, hitting the ball through a target located in the center field, that's bonus points. So again, it's not enough people to field balls necessarily, so it's going to be a little chaotic. It's going to be almost, I guess, almost like an extra one of those mini games in like MLB like Mario Super Sluggers, kind of feeling like that. Any quick thoughts on that new format, on that little new celebrity format, I guess?
It'd be interesting. I'm kicking myself now that when we had Ryan Howard on, we didn't talk about this. I don't know if it had been announced yet.
I don't believe so.
Taking part in this, or just the fact that the All-Star game is, in Philadelphia this year, because he was also talking about Jimmy Rollins and some of their appearances on Always Sunny in Philadelphia and what they did in 2008 with the Phillies, that championship team, that World Series team. But even though this hadn't been announced, I don't think at that point, it would have been still cool to talk to him about that. But we were in banana ball mode. We were in 2008 World Series mode. But maybe I'll have to shoot him a DM and just ask him what's going on and how that's going. He had not heard about the Aaron Rowan 2005 commercial. I don't know if you remember this.
No.
There's a commercial with Aaron Rowan. He runs into the back wall trying to make a catch. And the slogan for the White Sox was "Win or Die Trying," right? So he pops up on the L train, and the devil is there and says it's not just a motto or slogan. It's the contract, so now I have your life. And then Aaron Rowan goes, but I caught the ball. And he shows him his mitt, and the devil goes, oh, awkward, and he poofs him back, and next thing you know, you're looking up at Scott Podsednik, who will be here today, and Jermaine Dye, who are like, you all right, bro? So, yeah, funny commercials coming out of that 2005 team. But, yeah, I sent that one over to Ryan Howard, and he laughed because he had never heard of that one before, and he played with Aaron Rowan on that 2008 team.
That's awesome. Yeah, good blast from the past there. Again, quickly, for any of you who are like, hey, what's the Texas Volts? That was an AUSL team. Again, that's the inclusion of the softball league that's going on. It happens over here in the Chicagoland area, over in Rosemont. The Bandits play.
And that's
there.
huge for them.
Yeah, I believe so. Nice
exposure. We talked to Jenna
exposure.
Rose last year. We were trying to get credentialed for that. We kind of missed the boat, I think, this year. At least I can't make it to any of the games, but they did bring back the Chicago Bandits in a sense. I mean, I think they're just called the Bandits, but they're spreading professional softball, like you mentioned, with the Volts and over here in Rosemont with the Bandits. And maybe we'll get to talk to Jenna Rose pretty soon and see how that's going and catch up on that league for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only that, going on upcoming as well, you'll have the MLB All-Star game coming up soon. I believe the July 12th, July 13th. So, yeah, that's literally going to be coming up right around the corner. Or, excuse me, July 14th is the
14-15, I think, right?
Yeah, there we go, 14-15 for the All-Star festivities. But you can also check out the American Association All-Star game. That'll actually be broadcasted on MLB Network. So that'll be very, very fun to see. You'll get to see at least 3 different Chicago dogs. I'm not quite sure. You can fill me in who Kane County, any All-Stars there, because I know we had Ethan Wilder from the Chicago Dogs, Giovanni DiGiacomo, and oh my goodness, I'm gonna blank on Jax Groshans, the catcher for the Chicago Dogs. So 3 entries from the Dogs and the American Association side. Were the on the Kane County side?
Yeah, I believe there's 5. I'm blanking on a couple of the names, but guys that we've talked to in Claudio Abril should be there. Weston Muir should be there. A couple of newer players for this Kane County team. Of course, they have a lot of returning casts from their back-to-back championships, but you mentioned Jax Groshans. I know Aaron Shellen would be glad that we're giving him a shout out. He's made a name for himself, despite the fact that the Dogs are struggling a little bit this year. But this Kane County Cougars team is back up and running. Unlike the Boomers, Boomers have not had a great season. They started out hot, a little under 500. They're trying to get back to it. So as far as All-Stars that I'll see in Florence on those same 2 days, that'll be picked up by the Gray Network. So MLB picking up the American Association. They'll also be airing their own home run derby and all-star game, but the Frontier League will have the Gray Network going on. It'll be the Dells, Caleb Rydell and Buddy Pindell for the Schaumburg Boomers. So it'll be like I'm in Wisconsin with the Dells. But it'll be fun to see that. And 14th and 15th will be a great time for all 3 home run derbies and all 3 all-star games.
Yeah,
so
if you didn't...
I'm excited. And yeah, the Cougars well represented. Apologies, I'm missing some names. They're not in front of me right now.
Josh Allen, the second baseman. Josh Allen. Yeah, second baseman will be one of the starters. Again, I'm sure we got a couple reserves as well as some pitching to be named.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, I got you. Absolutely. But yeah, that's again it kind of got away from us on our Cub talk a little bit. If I can somehow still circle back to that, I think I will. They had, at the beginning of this week, and maybe even a couple days now, about eight games ago, they won 23-3 against the San Diego Padres at home. And then the very next series, they opened that up. They lost 17-1 against the St. Louis Cardinals. And for those that were on the side of, I think it was very much going viral online, just those 2 box scores back-to-back next to each other. I think that just about sums up the Cubs season in a 2-3 day span right then and there. Again, across 2 games, scoring that much, but also losing by so much in the very next time. That complete yin and yang, the water finding its balance in every which way, where to kind of go back to the White Sox, where they haven't put together a string of crazy wins, but they just don't lose a ton in a row as well. So if they're only winning like 2 or 3 games in a row, they're only losing maybe a game in one game and then following up with a win, or only losing 2 or 3 times and then capping it off. So that's kind of where the White Sox can still stay competitive in the AL side, especially in the Central. You know, they've been competing there, but the Cubs have just been either so red hot or so ice cold you can't get a read on them. On top of that, again, you keep battling the fact of like, man, like Bregman, you want him to just wake up and be the monster that he is from behind the plate. Again, you just kind of look at like you're kind of still piecing together and band-aiding this pitching rotation. Like, there's got to be something. And there's got to be something maybe, again, we can shoot over to possible trades if they're going to be on the buyers or sellers come this time. But it's just one of those things where they feel like they just can't get out of their own way. And then they walk in yesterday to a brand new Hunter Green, freshly coming off of his little IL stint. And he just absolutely shoves. He goes scoreless. And they lose 4-0 last night against the Cincinnati Reds, who are bottom of the barrel in the NL Central. So, I maybe ask you, like, is there a quick fix? Or is it just one of those things where we're just going to keep cruising and hopefully that wild card spot stays as the Cubs?
I think we were talking about quick fixes for this Cubs team earlier in the season. I don't think there is a quick fix right now. I think it has to come from internally. I think the guys, the talent that they have right now has to just step it up. They were linked to a couple of different pitchers earlier on, even going into this trade deadline. And I think some of those pitchers, like Reed Detmers, has now been more so linked to the White Sox. So, Tarek Schubel's name is being thrown around there. We'll see what Detroit decides to do with him, especially with the announcement that Verlander is retiring. I don't see a quick fix for this Cubs team, only because so many other teams are looking for pitching. I don't know what you'll get. How many years in a row have we heard Sandy Alcantara be linked to the Cubs just for the Miami Marlins not to trade him, right?
And it might not now, considering that they're on such a crazy tear. They're right behind the Braves for the NL East. So it doesn't look like the Miami Marlins are going to be selling any of their big pieces. So that's kind of off the table.
Yeah. So, you talk about the inconsistency with this Cubs team. Winning by a great margin, losing by a great margin. It sums up that 10-game win streak, 2 of them, followed by a 10-game losing streak. It's just the inconsistency there. You talked about the White Sox not having that same inconsistency. Last night, they were going into another situation where it would be the first time they've lost 4 straight games as the White Sox this year. They get swept by those Red Sox, but they had split with the Cleveland Guardians, and they won the final 2 games. So going into last night, it was kind of do or die in a sense that you don't want to lose 4 in a row for the first time, and they didn't. So there's been consistency, like you mentioned, with the White Sox.
Absolutely. Quickly, one final thing as we got about 30 seconds before we hit commercial. Justin Verlander being announced the Legacy All-Star nominee. Last year it was Clayton Kershaw, rightfully so. And again, Verlander getting the nod for his legacy for his whole career. Again, if you look at this year, not the best statistics, but I think still rightfully deserve. Your quick thoughts on that before we head on out of here.
Great career, even better guy, I think. And it's going to be sad to see the end of an era in a sense, but it'll be great for him and for his family.
Absolutely. So we'll be getting to that and a couple other stuff when we get back. We're here. We got some Bulls and some tons more. We got some wacky topics coming up.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Orioles beat the Cubs 3-2 in Baltimore on Thursday. Jeremiah Jackson hit a 2-run double in the bottom of the 8th, lifting the O's to the win. The Cubs continue their road trip tonight. They open a series at Cincinnati with 5-7 Shota Imanaga starting against 0-1 Hunter Green. The Red Sox beat the White Sox 2-1 on Thursday. Caleb Durbin hit a 2-run homer, helping Boston to its 6th consecutive win. The White Sox lost for the 6th time in their last 8 outings. Left-hander Anthony Kay dropped to 6-4, allowing 4 hits and issuing a pair of walks over 5 1/3. The White Sox are tied with the Guardians atop the AL Central after Cleveland beat the Twins 5-2 Thursday. Summer League play for the Bulls starts tonight in Las Vegas. They'll take on the Memphis Grizzlies, and they don't play again until Monday with a game against the Utah Jazz. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Since 1960, Fox Valley Fire and Safety has been dedicated to caring for our customers and protecting our community. What began in a family basement with just 2 employees has grown into a team of more than 300, supported by nearly 200 service vehicles. But our mission has never changed. We're here to keep the people and businesses we serve safe. Our service technicians are available 24/7, 365 days a year across Northern Illinois, because your safety can't wait. To learn more, visit foxvalleyfire.com or call 847-695-5990. A proud member of the Elgin Area Chamber of Commerce, supporting the local business community.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. This afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 62. Looking ahead to Saturday, sunny with a high near 84. Saturday night will be mostly clear with a low around 64. On Sunday, sunny conditions with a high near 87. Currently, it's 73 and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Doug. Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct, to the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Welcome in, folks. WRMN 1410 on the rise. Right here, connected with Fox Sports and 1410, the Fox River Valley. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. It's been a fun one today for show, guys. Got to talk some FIFA. Got to talk some White Sox. Got a little Cubs sprinkled in. Got the All-Star game and MLB draft. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. There's some NASCAR in there as well. I'm not going to be able to open that up for you, my man. But as it is, as we are right now, I'm going to quickly talk to you about some Chicago Bulls. And we have a slew of other topics. I'm actually going to bring out the picker wheel today. Got some, like I said, I got a slew of topics towards the end if we don't get to them. Like I said, Mike Napolitano being at the White Sox game right now. He's out and about doing his little my investigative reporting duties. Investigative reporting. There's no investigation, but he's doing his reporting duties out there. He's trying to get some interviews. Hopefully he's talking to Sam Antonacci later today and or Kyle Teal as he was trying to get those interviews after Italian Heritage Night. He also told me that Will Venable is on the way out, so potentially getting some talk with him later on today. So again, anything like that, as always, please make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing, all on the WRMN 1410 social media pages, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Like I said, especially on the YouTube side, that's where we're going live today. That's where we're going live every single day, all the time. As besides the actual radio station, besides the AM side on your little radio dial. We're live over here on the YouTube side. So again, like, share, subscribe, put on that little bell so you know when those notifications go off. You know when we are live, so you know when to listen in and talk some sports, whether it's myself, Mike, and Dalton over here on the Rise, or we got, like I said, the Truth About Chicago Sports as well. A whole slew of topics. Big top sports throughout the week with our guy Derek Geyer. So yeah, again, all types of good stuff. It's sports. It's sports. It's the best part. We get to sit here and we get to talk about it. So without further ado, let me finish it off. Like I said, talking some quick basketball, some quick Bulls as they fell last night to the Grizzlies in their opening Summer League game. However, wins and losses, I personally am not going to worry about that in the Summer League. I'm going to be focused on what Caleb Wilson does, what Jalen Sellers does, what Dalen Swain does, and what Noah Essengay does. That's going to be my guys to follow for sure. And I'll slip in some Boo Booey if he gets some more playing time. I would love to see the former guy from Northwestern get in some playing, but it is exactly that. Those were most of the names, most of the guys making some headway last night and playing against the Memphis Grizzlies in what was Cameron Boozer versus Caleb Wilson, the number 3 overall pick against the number 4 overall pick last night. And again, while the Grizzlies go home with the final last laugh with the 97-96 win, or excuse me, 97-96 win, it is Caleb Wilson having 35 points in his Summer League debut is what a lot of people are talking about, or a lot of Bulls fans are excited about and looking forward to, and rightfully so. This is a number 4 overall pick that has the potential, could have been number 1 overall, has some reports from other analysts and other people that highly watch the NBA, college ball, and everything like that, saying this kid, Caleb Wilson, of anyone in this draft, yes, he had some clear-cut number 1s, obviously. And Peterson going over to I'm gonna blank right now where everyone went, Utah, I believe. But everyone's saying that Caleb Wilson was the guy with the potential highest ceiling in this. So if you're telling me you can get the guy with the potential highest ceiling 4th overall, and again on top of that being being able to take Dalen Swain at 15th later on in that draft, you're not going to say I can't sit there and tell you that the Bulls necessarily won for sure the draft, but they didn't lose. They definitely didn't lose in that draft. Again, being the optimistic Bulls fan right as of right now. But again, Caleb Wilson going with the big shots towards the end. They looked to him for some big threes, and sure enough, he again just short hit a big 3 to go down. They were down 1, I believe, down 1 or 2 with a couple of seconds left. They foul, had to go over, do the whole free throw rigmarole, do that whole gimmick, but at the end, with a couple seconds left again, Caleb Wilson going up and hitting it to just bring it back down to 1. So again, I'm not going to sit here and hoorah, the Bulls won already. It's one Summer League game. However, that is what your number 4 overall pick should look like. Patrick Williams, I'm looking at you, pal. Shooting 7 of 11 from 3-point land, not just from the field, from 3-point land. Again, something that the Bulls just aren't really adjusted to, like just 3-point shooters and having an abundance of them. So having Caleb Wilson out there, I think he's going to be he's going to be a starter for sure. I think in my mind, the starting lineup for the Bulls is most likely going to look like Josh Giddey at the 1. You have Norman Powell at the 2. You have Buzelis at the 3. You have Wilson rocking at the 4, and then you're going to have Nick Claxton, who, by the way, just fell into the Bulls' hands on that 4-way trade between the Bulls, the Timberwolves, the Hornets, and the Brooklyn Nets. So if you can basically, again, not have to put your hands up, but still have a guy like Nick Claxton, a very young, very athletic center, which Bulls just kind of were ignoring these past couple years. Like, big guys over 6'8". Nah, we're good. We're good. We don't need that. We have plenty. If you put enough 6'6" guys, you put enough guys that are 6'3" together, that makes a 7-footer, right? Right? No, that's not how that works. finally getting some size, finally getting, like I said, a young guy in Nick Claxton. From one Nick to another, even though he spells it differently, I'm still going to be rooting for you. So I think that's a solid young starting lineup that can make some noise. How about that? How about making some noise? I'm not going to sit here and, again, tell you that, that guarantees a six seed, that guarantees them in the playoffs, no play-in tournament this year for the Bulls. No. It's probably where they might be just because of inexperience and Thiago Splitter's first full year as being at the helm. I think there'll be some growing pains with that. So I'm not going to be here like, oh yeah, New York Knicks, watch out, the Bulls are here. No, not even close. However, and finally, as a Bulls fan, you get to be like, oh wow, a young talent that was very highly sought after in a humongous, very, very, very talented draft pool, and we get to watch him for 82 games this year. Again, unfortunately for myself, who gets to go to these Windy City games and work them, I don't think I'm going to be seeing a lot of Caleb Wilson. I think we're going to be seeing him a lot more at the United Center throughout this year. Selfishly, yeah, sure, come on down to the Now Arena. Would love to see you there, Caleb, but honestly, probably going to see him more on the Madhouse side. Going to be seeing him more at the UC of anywhere else. So, long way of me saying I'm intrigued. I don't want to say excited. I am intrigued right now with the way that the Bulls can look eventually as this season is being shaped up. The only thing I'm not too keen on, again, I didn't watch it personally. Box scores are box scores. They don't represent the entire thing. Noah Asengay getting about 30 minutes but only putting up 5 shots is not exciting to me. Again, that it was their first-round pick last year that didn't do anything, only because he was injured. He had a couple of Windy City games. Did travel with the big Bulls later on in the season, but again, due to injury, was shut down and did not play the remainder of the year. He had surgery, but the big news was he grew, and he grew, and he grew, and he grew. So let's see what Noah Asengay is all about. Again, looking up and seeing how their rest of the season goes. So I don't believe, they're not playing tonight. Bulls are not playing tonight for another Summer League game. I can quickly try and see where they are expected to go next. When is the Bulls' next Summer League game? I'm literally scrolling up top and can't. Oh, okay, there we go. That would be Monday, July 13th. That'll be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It says it's going to be over on ESPN, but of course, it should always also be on CHSN. If you have CHSN, it's CHSN Plus. It should most likely be on that as well. So that's all fun and dandy. That's going to be fun. That's going to be cool. I wanted to maybe save this if Mike was going to be around. But I mean, we can always rehash it if he rejoins. Again, he's out and about over at the White Sox game, doing his job. Exactly right. He's trying to see if Will Venable is out and about, getting some interviews, talking him up, getting some stuff there. Again, along with Dalton Cooper, who's over on assignment over in Wisconsin. He's taking some pictures as he does, a little shutterbug. So we got the crew all here for that. But like I said, I wanted to save this for when they were here, but I might as well. Well, I got a couple minutes, and I can, like I said, I'll end off with the picker wheel. I got another fun night tonight. I'll buy a little bit more time and talk about what I'm doing later today. New Japan Pro Wrestling. What? Yes, New Japan Pro Wrestling company from where? New Japan, from Japan. Yes. Founded in 1972, so this is no new company. This is not like AEW from 6-7 years ago. No, this is New Japan. They're going to be having their G1 Classic, one of their big wrestling tournaments, one of their big wrestling shows, over at the Now Arena, over in Hoffman Estates, just a stone's throw away from here, from the studio, which is always cool to see. Haven't had the G1 Classic, for you wrestling fans, for you big wrestling nerdos like myself. Haven't had the G1 Classic here in the States since 2019. So should be fun having this new thing, having this G1 Classic back here for the first time in 7 years. Again, it's different. It's much different than the pageantry of WWE, even a little bit more different than what you see in AEW, again, where, yes, Tony Khan, he's very much influenced by the strong style and maybe the lack of storylines that happen in New Japan Pro Wrestling. However, you still get the, like I said, the American style / like I said, a lot more talking and storyline driven rather than just in-ring performances. So it's a different cup of tea. I wouldn't say, like I said, I wouldn't be jumping about and saying like, yeah, the kids are going to love it. It's going to be a little bit for the older crew, going to be for a little bit older gentlemen, older gentlemen and ladies in the audience. However, again, open it up. Wrestling is for everybody. So again, have some fun. New Japan Pro Wrestling. If you got nothing to do later on today at the Hoffman Estates at the Now Arena, that should be fun. Like I said, if you look at tickets, I bought mine for my buddies a little while, maybe about a week ago, and I said, I'm like, oh man, if I could probably hold off, and I'm like, nah, let's just be safe. Let me get it now. I could have for sure definitely waited on that one. I think we're gonna have to. They're actually probably gonna have to restructure how everyone's gonna be sitting for that one. So unless I'm looking at Ticketmaster right now, but as of right now, from my understanding, tickets are very much widely available for that New Japan G1 Classic that's going to be happening later on today. 5:30, the doors open for that 7 o'clock bell. If you are interested, like I said, we've had a wrestling program on here before on WRMN. So again, I don't think it's too much of a stretch here to be talking about a little bit of wrestling as we're going on. But I'm not going to harp on it too long. Like I said, wrestling in general, it's for everybody. I love it. You love it. It's still there. New Japan Pro Wrestling happening in Chicago later today. So like I said, bought a little bit of time, but still not here, is our guy Mike. So I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off so you'll hear my side. So maybe in a week or so when I'm not here, you'll hear Mike's side. So like I said, it won't be too much of a debate, I guess, back and forth. However, there was some Blackhawks news, some reports. The star and former number 1 overall pick from a few years ago, Connor Bedard, successful shoulder surgery. Congratulations. Good to see that. Yeah, glad to see that. Good to hear that. Should be out and recovering for about 4 months. I think that sets him up just before the start of the season. So I don't believe, as of right now, timetable tells us that he should be available for the beginning of the season. I think that's, again, good news. I think that's nice. However, I said this in our WRMN chat, and I'll be completely forthright and honest. I'm not completely subscribed to this opinion. However, I think the doors are starting to slowly open up for the conversation to be had on whether or not Connor Bedard is looking like a bust. I know. I'm gonna let you kind of react. I know you're probably screaming, yelling. You probably threw something in your car. How dare you? I know the guy that watches the least amount of hockey is coming out and saying this when you got two nice hockey buffs on here between Dalton and Mike. For me to come out and say this, I'm sure they're all mad. And like I said, it didn't go over all that well over in the WRMN chat. And like I said, it was a mixture of I kind of do and kind of don't believe it at the same time. Where I think, yeah, I mean, he's kind of on the bus side a little bit in the idea that when you're kind of handed a number 1 overall pick, he's the rising tides raises all ships type deal. I think it's got to be a saying or some sort of metaphor. I don't think I'm completely off in that saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. But that, I feel like that just hasn't happened. And I heard the argument from our guy Mike. He texted, he rattled off a couple paragraphs in a row. He's got every right to feel the way that he does. I feel like other people have the right to feel that they do if they truly do feel like he is a bust. But if you're on the side of he's not, and it's because just the team hasn't been up to par, I think again you have some legs. I think I could agree with you there, but it's just one of those things where if he was as good as he was or expected to be, he wouldn't be as injured as he was. And that's not a skill thing. Sure. It's just an unfortunate timing thing. It's smaller, and I feel like he's just more banged up and more hurt than he is healthy and out on the ice. It just, again, outsider looking in. You can scream at it all you want. It's just, as of right now, every time I get a notification from the Blackhawks, a final, it's usually a loss followed by, seeing Connor Bedard on the box score and whatnot, but these small personal records, and you can say, oh, he's the first player to do this since this year, and he's the fastest young star to do this since this year. That's nice. Personal records are fun and cool. However, I haven't seen the Blackhawks competitive in any form since he's been drafted. And again, it's not a one-man army thing. This isn't a single. Again, I understand. I'm very much aware that this is a team sport, and you need more than just one person, Connor Bedard, to carry this squad. However, I just haven't seen enough to completely sell me that he was for sure not on the. Can you see where I'm coming from? Where I'm inching towards. I think the conversation can be held. I think that's kind of where I'm getting at. I'm not going to call him a bust necessarily. I just think it is appropriate for some people, if they want to start having that conversation, I think they can now. Do I agree with them necessarily 100%? No, not just yet. I want to keep rooting for the kid. I believe in Bedard. I really want to. He's likable. He really is. He looks like he flies around, but just isn't putting together the wins that I need as a casual Hawks fan. It just hasn't happened yet. So again, let me know if I'm all the way out in left field on this one, or what would be the hockey metaphor equivalent to this. I don't know. Again, that's more Mike and Dalton speed, so that's why I got him on that one for sure. But let me know. Am I completely crazy on this one? Like, I'm gonna be out for the next 2 weekends. I got extra race stuff coming on. I got some power boats to get to and some drag racing. So I'm sure all of you were probably like, "Oh man, okay, good. We don't have to listen to him talk about hockey for 2 straight weeks after that." But man, you let me know. I feel like I'm definitely on the not so popular side on that. But again, I feel like it's appropriate now to maybe start having that conversation. There you go. That was my long-winded way of saying that. So with a couple of minutes left, I got a couple of topics I can get to and finish off today's episode. So exactly that. Let's spin the wheel. Let's make a deal. What are we landing on? What are we talking about for the remainder of today's episode? Like I said, a couple of them to get to. And let's start off with a lighter one of the topics that I got. For those that are in the video game realm, hopefully you're enjoying Black Ops and Black Ops 2 being resurged as much as I am, because I've been playing that like a little kid, like when that was my nostalgia, like carefree game when I was growing up. So again, hopefully everyone else is enjoying that as much as I am. However, if you're in the college football realm, if you're playing EA College Football 27, I believe, coming out, you're not so excited, because now the online purchases, people that were playing Dynasty or what would be MUT, Ultimate Team, people tend to stay away with that. They want to do the offline stuff. They want to do the Dynasty mode. They want to do the going through your progression. They want to do a player and then progress in XP and graduate and go to the NFL draft. However, EA is making you pay for some stuff now in offline mode. Yes, having offline purchases, and that has been a very strong surge online. Fans are not fond of this, and they're having a little bit of a backlash, EA. So if you're online and you basically see hashtag play not pay, EA play not pay, it's something along those lines of of the hashtag going on, and rightfully so. This is another greedy moment by a billion, almost $1 trillion company in EA. So to sit there and tell us that they're basically, we don't have enough money, or we need more microtransactions for this awfully made game. I'll be just straight up and honest with that. I'm not going to be working for EA anytime soon, so I can just be like Madden. All those games, just they're simulation based. It is not. It's animation based. It's not actually. It's hard to kind of, like I said, to determine everything. It's not like authentic. It could be way better, but they do cut so many corners. EA does, and you get instances like this where you now have to make offline purchases in a video game, which is just bonkers to me. Again, just how greedy can you be? How greedy can one company be? When we already have hydration breaks that are like, oh no, it's for the players. No, it's so you can have an ad in your World Cup and have an extra ad, because God forbid you get more, you add any less ad revenue. I can't even speak. I'm so flustered. Maybe on to the next one. I guess that's the way of saying it. I'll probably have one more opportunity to get one more in here. So let's try and see. Let's spin the wheel right here. What do we got? One more little quick pick as we go around. Like I said, I got a couple more seconds. I wish it was a lighter one, but I'll get in there. Chris Johnson announcing on Good Morning America his unfortunate ALS diagnosis. I personally bag on AI and all the downfalls of it and how annoying it can be. Yes, but it was nice to hear Chris Johnson's voice, even though it was through an AI robotic system that he was having to control. So I just want to say, watching that interview, I couldn't even get through it. I'll be straight up honest with you. That introduction to his ALS diagnosis, absolutely just gutting to hear that. You hate, again, seeing him being an absolute phenom. Watching the highlights over him talking was just absolutely, just like I said, gutting to hear. So nice job on Michael Strahan. No matter what Dan Le Batard says, thinking that you had to have the hard-hitting questions for that Good Morning America interview, that's ridiculous. The hypocrisy is crazy there. Dan Le Batard, maybe ask Diana Rossini about some hard-hitting questions, and we'll get back to you on that. However, that's not what we're worried about. Donate to ALS, Ice Bucket Challenge, and everything else. WRMN 1410 on the rise.
Before the weather gets too cold, it's time to finish up those outdoor jobs. That's why ComEd wants you to know that electricity can jump from a power line to you